Welcome back to the Pick Your Poison tournament cast. Here on my stream, the event was organized by Daniela and her crew, so I want to give another big shout out to them. Today, we're looking at a round 2 matchup from bracket H between amobe and Azaell. This is going to be our matchup for today. It's a 3rd seed against a 6th seed, so hopefully it's going to be a competitive series. And we've got the draft right here with some great news. Golden Swamp as our first map. Always welcome is this map on this stream. And we've got some decent backup options there with Islands and Arabia, depending on how the series goes. So, for that first matchup, we see right here at the bottom, the first game is going to be Italians against Sicilians for Golden Swamp. So let's dive right in there and see how this series kicks off. So first and foremost, amobe on the left side here in the west playing as the Italians. And it's as if that we've seen quite a few of already, so maybe let's start out with the Civ stats right away out of the gate, because there might be some action on this map early on. Therefore, let's get this over with, shall we? Italians, interesting array of bonuses, mainly the cheaper cost on advancing to the next age, allowing for some creative timings, and of course you're never going to complain about being able to age up faster and cheaper. But there's also some other decent bonuses here. Some naval emphasis with the dock tax and cheaper fishing ships. On this map you don't want to typically invest a ton on water, but even if it's just a little, it'll save you some nice wood in the early game. And of course, cheaper gunpowder units is also pretty decent then in the late game. On the other side then, for Azaell, who is trying as the 6th seed to score somewhat of an upset here in round 2. The Sicilians, which have seen some decent success on this map already. I want to point to Chopterberger's set against Nessie, I believe, where the Sicilians had a very interesting strategy that was rewarded with success on this map. Of course, the donjons, which are kind of hybrid buildings between castles and towers available from the feudal age, can make a big impact here. You see all those resources pretty close together, those gold piles, the berries and the stones here at the top. So same thing for the opponent, of course. The resources tend to be quite close together, and so those dungeons can really deny a lot of value if they're being placed aggressively. And maybe could be an angle here for the underdog to try and mix it up that way. Of course, there's still more to the Sicilians. The extra stone that they start with, enabling strategies such as this one, or just allowing you to add an extra town center in Castle Age if you don't want to go for such a cheesy type of play. Other than that, there's some nice combat bonuses as well, and we've got some decent farm bonus as well. So it's a little bit of everything truly for the Civ. I don't want to dive into every last one of these bonuses right now, because I expect this game to get hot pretty quick. Let's see what both these guys are going for. amobe himself is going for loom, probably because they're currently housed, trying to get that house up as quick as possible, but also already working on the dock, which has now been completed, and the first fishing ship is already on the way for them. Here already we can see the cheaper fishing ship build cost working as out is quite the benefit for the Italians in this one. On the other side, the Sicilians a little bit late to that, or later than their opponent at least, has a small village advantage, since here Azaell here on the east wasn't actually forced to pick up loom just yet, but we'll see how those advance times can compare. Generally, maybe the Italians should be expected to get up quicker, since they were able to add that fishing ship first. And also, of course, with the Civ bonus, they just have a cheaper cost for advancing from the get-go. This is, of course, the first game of this series, meaning we're playing on the neutral map, which is neither player's home map, and thus whoever wins this game can position themselves in a really great spot in this series. I believe I've only cast a single series so far where the loser of game 1 ended up coming back to reverse sweep. Although actually that sounds wrong. It probably was more serious, but I can only remember one specific series where we did see a reverse sweep, a victory on their home map and the opponent's home map. So that is what would be required if one were to lose that first game and still come back in the series. So yeah, again, I think I got that wrong probably, but it just goes to show how rare it really is that you can come back in a best of 3 after losing the neutral map. So it's gonna be a really valuable victory for whoever is able to pick it up here, and especially with players this closely matched, I could imagine this one being kind of the decider. Interestingly though, we have the Italians opting for a fast castle type of approach, it would appear, whereas the Sicilians are actually the ones going up to feudal age already. In terms of fishing ships, we've got 3 additional ones for the Italians, and of course also 3 more villages on top of that, because Azaell has now also added in Lu, but has of course advanced to the feudal age a minute earlier, and thus wasn't, or at least the Italians were able to produce more villagers in the meantime, are now of course going to have to catch up with that feudal age time, so it's going to even out a bit there. I just want to point out the difference here in the fishing economy. Twice as many fishing ships for the Italians. They've got a really good eco up and running. They're going to try and fast castle here, I believe, although the gold economy is very much short of ideal, and it looks like the Italians aren't actually going to go for a straight fast castle, adding a second dock now. That's going to definitely make it impossible to get up to castle age right away, and they're now dropping some walls here as well, so I'm not sure if that was really necessary to stay in Dark Age for this long, but it really does look like they were maybe intending on going for the faster castle approach. We'll see though. It is a very daring strategy against an opponent who is likely to maybe try and pressure you with some dungeons sometime soon. So now with both these guys having arrived in feudal age, Italians on 22 villages, so do the Sicilians. Let's see what the strategies are going to be for both sides here. Ships out already for the Sicilians, and the Italians on the other side actually going for some galleys apparently. The fire ship being out first is now getting to work away a little bit on that fishing ship of amobes. Looks like maybe one of those 6 has actually already fallen, and this is going to be the second one, manifested in the eco KD of 2-0 at this point. Second fire ship outbound. As just mentioned, the Italians are looking to stack up some galleys, so it's definitely not going to be a fast castle. If you're going into galleys, you're going to need a lot of them, so that would mean spending a lot of gold on navy and thus not being able to get up to castle age very fast. Meanwhile, another fishing ship about to be taken down, and this is a questionable start for amobe, I would say, just because you're investing a ton onto water if you're going for galleys here. And you've already invested into 6 fishing ships. You were forced to give up half of them already. At least, oops, you should have been. Looks like Azaell maybe lost track here and actually let that one slip through. Either way, it is big investment to go into galleys here, getting fletching for them as well. We're gonna have to see if it's going to pay off though. It doesn't look like Azaell was actually keen on investing that much onto water. It's also dropped that second dock. The 5th fire galley is about to come out. But of course, those ships not needing any upgrades makes it even cheaper in the short term. Looks like amobe's at the top of his game though. With the kiting here, taking minimal damage and able to actually dish out a lot in return. About to take out that first fire galley. Not sure where that guy is going. But the kiting is pretty good, so the trades have been really successful for the Italians actually, and okay, still producing more galleys here in queue, but having taken some good trades so far, maybe amobe can start slowly but surely pushing back the Sicilians there. At home it's looking fine. Just scouts so far in terms of land military. Nobody has gone in that direction, and that's the fishing ships gone for the Sicilians. That might be, yeah, Azaell in for a bit of a rough transition here, as typically when those fishing ships are cleaned up, people tend to struggle a bit with keeping villager production up. He's already transitioning into farms though, so maybe he's got that covered. The galleys are on the hunt, trying to see if there's more ships of the opponent to catch out. I want to see what Azael's next move is though, because they've stopped producing fire galleys and no fishing ships are out on the water anymore, so contesting the water doesn't seem to be their, well, short-term goal at least, and I can't see any donjon attempts or anything of that sort. A barracks has been dropped, so at this point it's clearly either just going to be up to castle as fast as possible, and that is what it's going to be. Market is being used here for the Sicilians. They're missing a building though. I'm not sure if they're aware of this, but they're trying to click up to Castle Age right now, realizing that one building is still missing in order to be able to do that. And that's going to delay them by quite a bit, actually, losing out on probably like a minute of time there. No blacksmith in just yet. Trying to put that up as quickly as possible now, and it is an awkward situation for sure for Azaell, who was forced to give up the water but has been idle for quite some time now. Trying to get up to Castle Age. Was maybe expecting some land shenanigans to commence soon, but decent job of walling up here by amobe makes tower drops or anything of that sort pretty difficult as well. Galley mass is at a critical point at this point. If you've got 13 galleys, not really a point for the opponent to try and get back onto water here in Feudal Age. So I think it's okay to try and get to castle before attempting anything new. Going for a castle drop on the water to take control back there is an option for sure. Starting with those 300 stone would definitely help out with that. That's a beautiful mining camp. All the low elo players are raving about that in chat, I'm sure. And yeah, amobe is gonna be pretty late at Castle Age. 20 villagers on gold. I'm not sure that is necessary. I wonder what that is due to. Maybe still with an eco balance that was set up for going heavily into navy, but now knowing that no more navy is required, I wonder why not more of these gold villagers were pulled off of gold and transitioned into farmers or wood choppers at least. We'll see if that follow through is ever going to occur. It seems Azaell is actually going to try for some sort of forward. That's a lot of villagers, so clearly a castle or dungeon drop. Maybe going to buy the last few stones to try and get a castle down. Or whatever this is. Maybe just a TC? No, there's no... Where are we going, boys and girls? We haven't even dropped our resources yet. But this is sure curious, yeah. So he's definitely trying to hide those villagers from the enemy's vision, knowing that amobe controls the middle here and could potentially spot him. He's not going to see this coming. I assume the castle is going to be dropped somewhere in this area, probably, since everything else is really walled off already. Let's see if Azaell knows this, though. This is quite the awkward tower drop or castle drop attempt. Oh, it was over chopped there, apparently. And he's going to get to put that castle up right in the opponent's base. This would be huge if it were to go up. It would deny all of the opponent's gold, well, except for this one, so maybe it wouldn't be as huge after all. I don't think amobe has spotted this just yet, though. Oh, what a disaster. He's going to get this castle to go up here. Wow, that is so audacious, but it actually ended up working out. 14 villagers coming forward, and there's the castle. I wonder what amobe was kind of occupied with here. He's going to lose a few villagers on top of this, and that is a disastrous castle. Luckily, he still has some gold, so there is coming back from this one. There's also stone down here, so could go for a counter castle drop. This isn't as terrible as it looks in this very instance, I don't think. At home, it's also getting a bit awkward for Azaell, who's forced to give up a few buildings here to the galleys, and all the fish are there for amobe's taking. But he's going to have to find a response at home here, while the opponent is now approaching his gold. And a donjon is also even being dropped to try and fire away at the enemy town center. Presumably, knights now the follow-up for Azaell. Okay, so he's not remaining idle. I like the dedication here. We got to follow this one up and try and get some more effective raids in. Archers currently being trained by amobe to try and push the opponent off of the gold and deal with the sergeants that have been coming out. So apparently that is what we're looking for here. I doubt these archers are going to have a lot of success against the opponent's knights though. And amobe sees those coming in now, so I might, in his place, try and research pikemen here and go for that. Or even some monk play. Although that is quite expensive, but still with the low knight numbers, maybe that could work out too. We'll see about that. I think the archers here are going to be drawing dead against the knights though, at least as soon as those upgrades start coming in. The cavalry upgrades, the armor ones most importantly, would be invaluable here for Azaell. I would love to see the blacksmith be used for that now. It might be occupied with different actions in this instance. Hey there in chat, Beige, great to see you. This is an interesting game one here, to say the least. Azaell going for this super audacious castle drop that the opponent did not notice and has kind of turned the game around by merit of that. Fishing economy firmly in amobe's favor, so if he's able to sustain and survive here, he might have a good shot at actually taking this game. The question is, how does he stop this castle here? And the knight raids as well. I still don't understand why Azaell isn't putting in that scale barding. It would help out a lot, certainly. Tries to go for another castle drop, actually. I wonder if that is the best idea. You could try for the castle down here, actually, and that's exactly what he's going for. I love to see that. So that is definitely more pressure on the opponent's town center, although it's not denying any additional res. And with the fishing ships, that means amobe is at least able to collect some food still without having some farms up. This is getting tense quick, guys. Man, I wonder if amobe is going to have an answer to this. He's got the stone for a counter castle right now. So I wonder why it's not gone up yet. That was what I was suspecting initially, is just try and take out that first castle with a counter castle of your own. But the second one having come through now is going to give him some real trouble. He's going to lose that town center soon. And it's not like he's drowning in rest currently, so he's going to make smart decisions here with his eco, getting some monks against the enemy knights presumably, but actually Azaell has committed less into knights than I had anticipated, and he's in a fine spot here, honestly. I love to see this aggression. No triple TC, no 6 TC shenanigans as we've seen some people attempt them on this map. I love the balls to the wall playstyle that we're getting to witness here. Pretty much given up a lot of his homeland, but able to mine gold on the opponent's land and pushing them off of a lot of their eco here. Some good play. Another town center could be timely here for amobe. I would like to see that more towards the west perchance, on the stone over here. Maybe that is an option to try and get back into this. But he's just mining stone and not doing anything with it right now, and that I heavily disagree with. Might get some knight conversions here, which would be big. Actually able to get one of them, so good job there getting the higher HP one, and that is gonna hurt for Azaell definitely, who hadn't actually made that many knights to begin with. Trying to drop a second to see at home now is Azaell, and the counter castle finally comes out, not within range of the opponent's castle though, curiously, just trying to secure the few rest that he's got left over there in the west. So amobe is certainly not dead yet, and Azaell hasn't really been able to push a whole lot further ever since getting that castle. He's ways away from getting up to imp though, so it's not like he's going to start treading away at the opponent's eco, and it's actually amobe who could click up to castle age, to imp now. I think that is his plan actually, and that is why he's making so little military and no pikemen. He's trying to get up to imp, which he's able to do now since he's made that castle. Although actually he had the monastery and the university before. Either way, I feel like he's trying to go up to imp. As well, he doesn't have a town center actually, so maybe I'm looking stupid here. The idea is, I think he's trying to get this area back with trebuchets. Trebuchets, crossbowmen, hope for the best. Could be an angle. Doesn't have the town center though, so that hurts. No denying that. Town center here on the stone is what I would like here. Using the market now to buy some wood for a town center, presumably. Not sure what we're doing. We're queuing up Genoese? No, I don't like that. Okay, so he's cancelled those. Now he's again using the market in very curious ways. I think he just reverted the purchases that he made before. I'm not sure what's going on there currently for amobe. I feel like he's struggling a bit, and another town center coming down for Azaell, who's taking the lead here, although he is struggling with food eco. So he's not going to be able to produce villagers out of all these town centers that he's dropping. He's gonna need to start investing into some farms, but he doesn't have a lot of villages on wood either, so honestly it's gonna take him a while to get all those town centers to work. I feel like he's kind of overdoing it a bit with them right now. Although maybe he's just scared of these enemy raids and wants to have buildings to garrison. And he's made a decent number of new knights here, 8 of them in the north trying to break in. Wonder why we're not just running in through the castle, but maybe the next armor upgrade there could be a good choice when trying to go for those raids. Finally, the town center is in, and Imp is on the way for amobe, who's trying to kind of as a last effort go for the Imp here. But honestly, I feel like if you don't have pikemen in front of your traps, the enemy knights are just going to snipe them. So it really comes down to Azaell playing responsibly with his knights. If he throws them away, it could be difficult. There's only 2 monks right now for amobe. I don't think that is enough to protect his 1 or 2 traps that he would be able to get out on the map in 3 minutes time. So he's gonna need to survive until that and then protect the traps, if at all possible. Getting some more upgrade for those crossbowmen though, so I guess that's what he's banking on, being able to use these crossbowmen to keep the traps alive. It's better than nothing, I suppose. Having lost protection to the northern space is gonna be annoying. Although, having those crossbowmen in the opponent's backline is certainly helpful, denying some eco space from them. The gold here most notably in the east. Although gold is certainly not what Azaell is lacking right now. Puts up that castle here, which kind of protects against the galleys from the water, so that's a decent choice for sure. And the night raids now intensifying here, sniping some villagers on the gold, which is great. But remember, he's gonna need those knights once the trebuchets start coming out, which I don't think he's currently anticipating. But once he sees those Italians reach Imp, maybe that's gonna spell trouble for him. Still no second armor there for those knights, and look how much damage he's taken there actually. 4 knights remaining only and not a lot of HP on them. He's probably going to get completely wiped by those crossbowmen. So great timing opportunity here. Great window that's just opened up for amobe. And still Imp nowhere in sight for Azaell, who's going to have to deal with trebuchets soon. And that might be a real tall ask of him. Great job always by amobe positioning those crossbowmen behind enemy lines, trying to get some snipes in, although currently maybe not on the correct setting. Either way, he's doing a good job always trying to raid and keeping the pressure up. More castles being dropped at home. Azaell is in a fine spot. He's actually getting infantry armor. Interestingly, would appear as though he's going for sergeants, or whatever he's going for. He's gonna need units against the traps. I really would have liked to see him double down on the knights here, to be honest. Crossbowmen and monks are annoying, yeah, but maybe the Genoese also scaring him, which amobe has now queued up. And there we go. Trebuchet starts working away at the castle. The second one about to come out as well. The second castle for amobe is producing Genoese in the meantime. And he's getting some army up there. He's not out yet, despite being down 20 in eco. That Imp timing might be able to save him the game. These sergeants are going in way early. Oh, no, they're not going in at all. They're just, I guess, yeah, accidentally kind of stepping up a bit. That battering ram is not upgraded yet. We're still in castle age, so I don't think it's going to be able to just tank the castle fire either. Although rams would be a great choice to take out enemy traps when the enemy is exclusively going for crossbowmen. And he's taking so much free damage from the castle fire every time. Tries to repair up that castle now, but this is a bad idea, man. The thing is, he's not buying himself time for anything. He's just throwing away a stone. If he was trying to get up to Imp, sustain the time period that he needs to start getting out some traps, I would understand that, but he's not getting up to Imp. He's also not making knights and trying to get a critical mass before riding in there to take out the traps. No, he's just repairing this castle kind of for the fun of it. And I don't really agree with that. It's really migrated a large part of the eco over here in the west, and that might be destroyed pretty soon. Look at how effective that battering aim is. It's taken the castle for such a long time. That would have been a decent choice against those trebuchets if you didn't want to go into knights. And so far, it's been working great here for amobe. He's taken out those castles and town centers one after the other. Azaell not really finding an answer to that. 16 sergeants alive for him at this point, but not really getting a lot out of them, and now able to click up to Imp himself. Maybe trebuchets are going to be the way back into this one for him. Still on a 20 eco lead, but good job for amobe trying to secure the vision on the side as well. And his eco is now for the most part in a safe location, whereas Azaell's eco is going to be forced to migrate once more pretty soon. At least he's been able to clean up the mess at home, so that's going to be big. But he's going to lose out on the better part of this forward here. Just going to be unfortunate. Crossbows here still alive and well for amobe. He's still making more Genoese, it would appear. And sitting on those 2 or 3 trebuchets actually, and going to try and transition onto the donjon next before approaching that castle. And there he goes. That one's going to melt in no time. Remember, this is essentially a feudal age building, so there it goes. And there's no answer again. Now going into knights is Azaell. Wonder why he didn't actually produce more of them earlier. He's got a ton of gold left over. I'm not sure about this, guys. I really am not. Castle is now taking shots as well, or is it? Actually, I don't think the traps have been moved within castle range yet. So, Azaell might be lucky for the time being. Going to get up to Imp with at least that one forward castle. But he doesn't have any army there. It really looks like he's gonna just give this one up and start building up from home again. Alright, amobe is sticking around in this one. Not out just yet. And still has the fishing economy as well here, remember? So, yeah, he's been able to gather safely for the most part and is now able to take back that land. A lot of gold still remaining here. 2,300 that haven't been picked up from the opponent's side. Down goes the last forward castle. Alright, momentum is starting to shift now back to the Italians. Who... Well, okay, those fishing ships, maybe I've overhyped them a little bit. No denying that. Sergeant's probably trying to look for some stray eco. Could be raided. Hey, great to see you in chat, Azaell, by the way. This is a super entertaining game so far, I can't lie. Yeah, I was gonna say, we're in a great spot, but those trebuchets here, I think you weren't probably expecting the Italians to reach Imp that quickly. There's really no answer for you to those trebuchets. Maybe should have kept those knights around that you had originally and could have tried and sniped with them. But I don't think you saw that one coming, and the forward seems to be given up now. And as they are trying to kind of, yeah, build up an army at home again. Finally, the upgrades come in for the armor as well, and Cavalier will even be researched. I'm not sure Knight alone is going to be winning this one. Lots of Genoese there for the Italians on 50 archers. It's what he's sitting at right now. So Bracer even in already. Okay, so he's gonna hurt with those. I think it's gonna be more that is needed than just those 14 Cavalier in order to push into those archers. Maybe some raiding on the side can be good though, because those Cavalier are going to be much more nimble than the archer stack of the opponent. And the trebuchets, nice, they've done their job, but it's going to be difficult to actually push forward with those, because the Cavalier are going to give you trouble if you move out too far. I agree, definitely. Both the players' economies took a huge hit during Castle Age, and that's what I say I absolutely liked about this game. as opposed to many other Golden Swamp games where people just put down 3 or 4 town centers and just boom through Castle Age. I liked the aggressiveness here, and both economies were of course suffering from it, so it was fine there, definitely. Now it seems as though amobe has recovered a bit and is trying to push forward. Again, those raids, I gotta compliment those. Always sneaking some crossbowmen forward to try and get some hits in onto enemy villages. Eco KD is very much even here between the two players. Cavalier is finding some easy pickings. Maybe I'd add a knight or a monk or two, I should say, for the Sicilians now to be able to heal up those cavaliers. Especially when your eco isn't in the greatest shape. Having some monks to restore the units that you have, the expensive ones, to full HP can give a lot of value back, where you can't just replenish the units if you lose them. That's a big mass of crossbowmen though. 40 units going for another raid and trying to take out the first town center. With that, it's going to take a lot of time though. Cavalier probably doing a good job trying to look for some raids elsewhere. Second town center finally about to come out for amobe. Down only 10 eco at this point, so he's kind of getting back into this one. We'll see if he can pull off the comeback. Although he was ahead earlier already, so it's kind of been a back and forth. The traps here coming into the mix are going to accelerate the push greatly. Good choice by Azaell to go for the counter raid. That's what I was talking about. You can't just move out entirely, because the Cavalier are gonna get eco damage done much more quickly than the Italian crossbowmen. And that's some massive eco damage. Look at this one. Back to 20 is the eco differential here. And the town center didn't even go up. Thus, it's now actually again amobe who's under huge pressure. Even though the town center was taken out in the top, raids are still occurring in their base. Nice job actually walling up now though. So those Cavalier are probably not gonna find any more eco kills for the time being. Maybe gonna have to loop around all the way to the south before being able to continue. And amobe has taken the tempo back. Traps in range of the next town center, and he's going to start firing away here. Oh man, that was... I'm not sure which one of the two upgrades that just was right there for the Sicilians. I believe it was the Imperial Age one, which was extra armor on knights, isn't it? Let's actually see. Yes, and +2 pierce armor on the knights is of course going to be great in this one. That was a worthwhile investment here. Sitting on 30 Cavaliers. Maybe that's going to be enough to take out the enemy's 50 crossbowmen, although there's some Genoese in there, which is always scary. I'm not sure how this fight actually goes here if he finds a good all-in. I could see Azaell actually winning this one. There's 3 armor upgrades for the horses. Just one attack upgrade, but if the Cavaliers live long enough, they're going to be able to wipe those enemy crossbows. So both players really trying to not throw away their stacks right now. Still very nice job by the Italians, always going for those raids here. Finding some cheeky villager picks every now and then, and that's huge, especially if your own economy is in such bad shape. But of course then easy pickings for the Cavalier once they come in. Town center dropped in the middle. That's interesting. I'm not sure Azaell can actually afford a TC in the middle without a castle there protecting it. The counterpoint would be that it's always easy to reach the middle with the Cavalier stack, so whenever the opponent tries to push there, you can come in and beat back the push in no time. I'm not sure I like this one though, because it really seems very vulnerable, and you're gonna have to be on high alert, always responding quickly if the opponent is trying to raid you there. But overall, I guess there's not much choice left here for Azaell, who's kind of been pressed into his corner, and I'm not sure there's even any gold left. So he probably just needs the gold from the middle at this point. There he goes. That's the last gold he's got, I think 300 there behind that one town center. So I guess, yeah, there's no choice but to go for the middle now. And yeah, thus I can't really criticize it. Now it takes on the enemy navy from horseback. I respect it. Lots of upgrades still coming though for the Italians. There was no thumb ring, no chemistry before this point in time. So actually, maybe with those upgrades coming in, these crossbowmen are gonna be too tall a task to tackle for the Sicilian Cavalier here. That's a lot of crossbowmen. Look at them firing away. Oh, I think that's going to be 3, 4 Cavalier going down. Good value on this one for Amobe and Azaell. Just for 1 or 2 galleys, I believe. Was not a worthwhile trade for him here, to be sure. At least he's opened up a huge new source of gold in the meantime. And now getting that iron casting as well. Gonna help out a lot, surely, with the Cavalier in the long term. Gold mining, gold shaft mining, good investment too. You're gonna need to get as much gold here as possible and get out, because you can see those traps positioned already at this point. I don't think you can take this fight. That's 30 Cavalier with not max upgrades against 50 enemy crossbowmen. Oh, that's gonna be difficult to do, man. He's gonna try and go in now, but he's gotta feel like the opponent is also running out of gold slowly. Not being able to mine in the middle so far at all. Gold mining camps coming up. I think that's a good decision. Maybe try and take out the traps and run. Could be a good idea. Actually, just trying to run away instantly, though. I don't know. I would have liked him actually try and go for those traps, because it doesn't seem like the opponent has got a lot of gold left. Let's see how much that is over here. Just 800. So that's 4 traps, basically. And would have been a big win to get some enemy gold units to go down. Be like, as long as you're controlling the middle here, you can take these types of trades. But of course, I don't fault him for trying to hold on to the Cavalier stack as long as possible. You don't want to be throwing those away. Otherwise, as soon as Amobe isn't scared of your Cavalier mass anymore, he's just gonna start pushing into your base again, and you've never been able to fight him head on here due to the immense mass of units he's got, so that wouldn't be good news for Azaell. Trying to get through on the bottom side now. Let's see if he's finding a way to get in there. It doesn't look like there's any opening in the south. Would need to cross through the castle, which, of course, at this point Amobe has found out. Looks like those Cavalier are gonna take some losses again, though. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, 6 Cavalier actually going down, and the 7th one on the way out. Oh, that's so costly. And again, if we do the tally here, that's 2 outposts in return for 7 Cavalier kills. Moby's going to take that. So right here, it's actually been whoever was trying to push has been losing out on these trades. And another TC, oh, it's not a TC actually, it's just a university there. My bad. Maybe he's trying to bait something with it, I'm not sure. He baited me with it for sure. I'm not sure why we need the university in the middle of the map. But hey, it's gonna be there. And at this point, Italians realizing we need some gold. We've got 0 left at home. Gonna need to go for the middle now. Is Azaell going to be able to stop this? If not, Amobe is likely going to be able to take back control in this one. 43 Cavalier, that's a massive amount of units. 51 is actually on the field right now. Maybe should wait for those additional few to get back in here. And try and push with that. Oh, it's such a huge mass of crossbowmen though, but I think with 50 Cavalier he might be able to do this. He should be winning that one. I'm not sure why neither party is actually going for different units though. I feel like just mixing in a few skirmishers or a few pikemen for the 2 respective sides could go for, could yield such massive benefits trying to get this one to go in their favor. The castle would help out a lot trying to fight those Cavalier, and it's going to go up, so that is a good decision by Amobe, getting the castle first before actually trying to take this gold. And those crossbowmen are going to fight with this castle's protection soon here. We have 54 Cavalier, but they're not actually engaging, and again just taking some free fire here. With the Italians now being allowed to mine some of that gold. Ballistics coming in for Azaell. I'm not sure why. Are we actually going to go for some skirmishes, or what's the idea here? Trebuchets now actually being queued. Conscription. Why are we doing chemistry? We're going for gunpowder, obviously. Alright, that's the thing. We've got no archers on the field. It must be about gunpowder. Maybe. Maybe that's the play. I'm not sure. I feel like if you've got the money to invest into chemistry, you definitely should have invested into elite skirmisher first. Good job on the archer padding. I think that's the right way to go. Researching that, preparing for some skirmishes likely. That's gonna be, again, you don't even need to go full skirmishes, just mix in a few. You get such immense value. 10 skirmishes, I guess, would provide more value at this point than adding another 5 cavalier to your army. And they're much cheaper too. Oh, don't get baited here though. Oh, the army control, gotta be disciplined here. Don't let those cavalier run in. That's another 2 going down for nothing really in return. But cannon galleon now, the attempt here at trying to take out this castle. Maybe that's a good idea. You don't have a lot of gold remaining though. Azaell seems to be losing the grip of this game. Ahead by 20 villages still. And Italians here, I'm not sure. I think they are really stressed out right now because they haven't queued up villages in a while, despite having 1600 food rather. 67 cavalier and counting for Azaell. Trying to get up a few skirmishes now, but he's being pushed in the middle. Cannon galleon is around, but not able to currently approach. And there we have the cavalier clashing into the line of crossbowmen. The castle is not in range yet, so maybe that's a decent trade to take. Oh, we see a lot of units go down on both sides here, actually. But the crossbowmen have found a glorious spot here in the middle of these gold piles. That's great positioning, but I think the cavaliers might just have a field day with this one. This is probably the game-deciding fight. And it's hard to tell who's coming out on top. Both sides have lost about 2/3 of their stack, I would estimate. But this is deceptively many crossbowmen still around in this stack. I think this is going to be the Sicilians winning the game, though. I don't see this being enough crossbowmen to sustain. And yeah, the Cavalier have wiped the floor, despite great positioning there by amobe. And I feel like this should enable Azaell to just push it over the edge here. Surely no more gold for the opponent. The middle is going to be completely cleaned up and taken back. And this should be the Sicilians taking the game here, surely. Or is there anything amobe can do to try and swing this one the other way? Tries still very hard with those Genoese, getting a lot of Cavalier picks in the process, but the castle and the town center are down. There's no way to retake this gold here, I don't think, and thus Azaell likely having won the game here in a 1 hour plus game on Golden Swamp. Probably going to take the neutral map in the series, and I pointed out earlier how massive this would be if a victory. Light cap for the Italians now. Yeah, realizing they've got no more gold, I guess you need to do something. But 0 upgrades on that cavalry, I'm not sure that's gonna do a whole lot, even if it gets to the enemy base. Oh, it's a rough look for the Italians here. A lot of patience there on both sides. I love the complete rejection of eco, both just stacking military. But looked like Azaell just did it a bit better, opted perhaps with better units. Both really sticking to their guns in terms of unit composition. Hussar on the way for amobe, but that's all going to be late and not going to be doing a whole lot against those Cavalier that Azaell still has on the map. And with all the gold in the middle being his for the taking, he can add as many Cavalier as he wants at this point. Yeah, I don't see this going anywhere. The one Callan Galleon, maybe the match winner. Maybe he can push forward with that against the enemy castles. There we go. Look at those cannonballs being chucked across the map. The Genoese are still a pain to deal with, but really they are quite limited in number. 0 relics for the Italians. They did carry one back to their base earlier. What happened to that? They had it. Oh, it's still here. Wow, that's one greedy monk, man. He wants all the gold for himself. Doesn't give it to the community. Man, that's what's wrong with capitalism here. Marx would be furious at this. Oh. Alright, amobe. I think you fought well, but really, what is the plan to retake the middle? I don't see where that could go for you. I mean, clearly the idea is to just make a few hussars and raid with those. But even if you raid, that's not gonna give you the gold from the middle here. You're not the Vikings. You can't get gold by raiding the opponent. In come the hussars, but Kinda underwhelming here. Feudal Age upgrades on those. I don't think this is the move for you, Marmite. But he's fought great, and I didn't think he was going to be able to free himself from the grasp of the dungeons and towers earlier, and he was able to do that as well, so maybe I'm not giving him enough credit here. Taking a great trade against those enemy cavalier. So, fair enough. Fair enough. He's finding some success here. But we really see the gold differential here. It's one of the main factors. Azaell not even adding any more eco himself. He's just fine with what he's got there. And he's rolling with that. I respect it. Lots more trash units in queue for him. A few more cavaliers also coming out. Let's see. We finally see more TCs added for the Italians. So they now realize they'll need more eco. But even 120 villager eco of trash units, I don't think would be able to stop those Sicilians. But maybe it would. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe there's a way back in case Azaell kind of starts dropping the ball. Yeah. That's wishful thinking though, really, isn't it? The 2 Hussars in the enemy eco. 2 villager kills there and counting. We'll keep an eye on that. But the same type of raids coming in from the other side as well. Oh. Now, there's really no upside anywhere at this point for amobe. And no matter how many cavaliers are being sniped here, the story kind of remains the same, doesn't it? Still, Azaell just building up for the time being. I'm not sure why we're not pushing just yet. Because, no, I mean, sure, you can't run into those enemy crossbowmen, but if you just put up your trebuchets and start sniping away those buildings, I'm not sure what the crossbowmen would be doing about that. 30 skirmishers to boot. I feel like that surely should be enough protection to keep away the crossbowmen from your trebuchets. And even if the light cav standards coming in, I mean, Cavalier should be more than well equipped to deal with that. Trebuchet goes up finally. I mean, still it's a bit greedy, or, well, just a bit lazy maybe not to add more siege at this point. But sure. The skirmisher raid's as good as anything he's got right now. Might lose a few actually to the Hussars here, if he's not being careful. But even so, with Bracer, he even does decent damage to those Hussars who still only have feudal age upgrades. So hilariously, they aren't even that good against the skirmishers right here. The castle is being chipped away at. All their stone here in the east has been taken by amobe, so no more repairs beyond the 250 stone that he's already got. I don't see this one ending well. Don't want to ruin the fun, guys, but it's gonna be a difficult uphill battle here. Finally, he ends up calling it there. Azaell takes the game 1 victory, and respect. That was a really entertaining game, and both players definitely had their advantages at times in this one. But a 120 minute, oh no, a 1 hour 20-minute game rather, on Golden Swarm ends with the lower seed here, Azaell taking the first map and forcing the opponent onto their home map next. Oh man. Azaell saying they always lack siege and that game was very tiring. That is, that I believe. I can't lie. Yeah, that must have been incredibly difficult to play out here. Let's see, the lower seed won this one, so I think we're up to the higher seed home map, which would be on Mongols against Malay here, if I'm not mistaken. That's perfect. We always love to see Mongols on this stream. Mongols against Malay. Let's see if we got such a game in here. We do. And it's going to be on Arabia too. Oh man, the last series we watched, the Mongols ended up losing on Arabia, despite me cheering for them. So let's see how this one goes then. It's Arabia, yeah, amobe's home map. So let's jump right in there. Game 2. Amobe with back against the wall, having to win this one on their home map if they want to stay alive in the tournament. And Azaell, the Mongols actually. Oh, he's playing as the Mongols. Okay. Trying to close it out here. We'll have to see it. Man. Always thankful when people pick some Mongols. That's always good fun with them. And Malay on the other side. So, as always, let's check out the Civ Bony first. We've got on the right side amobe, third seed of the bracket, really needs the victory here. What does the Malay Civ have to offer in order to facilitate that? Well, for starters, they've got a quicker uptime, so the researching of the next age is faster. Again, always useful in any type of map, may be able to get an earlier rate going on the opponent, faster rushes and stuff of that sort. Of course, most well known for their fish, and the fish booming, maybe that's an angle there, quite nearby pond here, so Sito would definitely be going for that. But of course, typically on Arabia, that's not what we see. So what does Malay have then? Well, they've got real nice infantry because the armor upgrades are for free, and that are the most important upgrades usually if you're going for infantry. So no matter if you're just making some pikemen or spearmen to defend enemy scout raids, that upgrade's going to be huge. But also if you're trying to go for longswordsman plays in Castle Age, or if you're trying to go for champions in late game, either way, the infantry armor is just coming in for free, and that's really a good asset to have. Of course, elephants also available to the Malay. Not sure usually how well those do, but being that much cheaper rather, in the late game, maybe they're a viable option too. We'll see about that. On the other side though, it's all of our favorites. It's the Mongols who... Did they lame those sheep? I'm not sure. Let's actually see. Did he... No, he didn't walk forward and lame the sheep. That's his own. Alright, we've got the Mongols though in the west. And that's what we're all here for. If we're following the channel, we can get this beautiful race car emote. I have a better one commissioned from an emote artist, so stay tuned for that one. For now, this one will have to make do. But we also have some beautiful Mangonel and Mangodai emotes available to followers, so yay Mongols, always glad to see those. And what do they also have to offer? Well, besides the race car onages, which is of course the main and only reason to really play this Civ, those only come in Imp though. So for now, we're gonna have to make do with the great Hunter bonus there, able to hit really absurd feudal or castle age timings thanks to the immense quick gathering rate of those hunting villages. So that's why we want to be pushing those deer. We want to be gathering all the food from our boars, and maybe if possible even lame an enemy one, as I've been known to do every now and then in this tournament. Either way, great bonus for the early game to carry you through. Hi there in chat Phantom, as I'm currently raving about the Mongols. This is bracket H, round 2. Azaell against amobe, 3rd seed against the 6th seed. The underdog is currently leading 1-0. And trying to close it out here with the Mongols, who, of course, the central unit that everything revolves around usually is the Mangodai. If you're able to get to Castle and Imp and amass a good number of these units, it's really difficult to handle that for the opponent. Great raiding units, super good against most enemy units. And thus, that's kind of what we're looking at oftentimes, Mangodai for the win. Alright, let's see if this scout is actually going to survive though. Looks like he didn't even take that much damage, so good for him. Yeah. So, anything out of the ordinary? Well, we have a really quick feudal age. That was what I was talking about here for Azaell. As I was saying, you are able to really get up quickly. 17 villages here. Good timing. Gonna try and get a scout rush going here as the Mongols. On the other side, the Malay going up to 21 villages. 4 villages later. But thanks to that 66% quicker advance time, it's actually not going to be that far behind. 50 seconds later than Azaell to the feudal age. That's going to be fine. He's going to be able to get out spearmen by the time that the enemy scouts start arriving. So that's not going to be the end of the world. The second deer has now been pushed by Azaell. That's nice. As I said, you really want to be getting as many of those as possible as the Mongols. And the stable is about to be up as well. he's gonna try for the classic scout rush. I like the 17 villager timing. Is a decent one to hit. Gonna be able to get another hit in onto the scout, but probably not going to be able to catch up here after amobe also advances to the next age. Has lost a lot of HP on that scout though, and if another attack comes in, he'll actually end up losing it. So yeah, he just ends up standing still here. Down goes the scout, and this is a real late militia play. It's 3 minutes. Is this just... was this an attempted... No. This is confusing to me. Because it's not a drush. It's way too late for that. But it's also not a man-at-arm play, because he's not researching man-at-arms. I guess he attempted a drush, but then maybe forgot sending them out or something to slow down the enemy scout attack. I'm wondering. This is not something I'm a fan of. This doesn't look too great. He's now going into spearmen, of course. Nonetheless, you're gonna need those. And every time, get some decent damage in onto the scouts. I'm not sure Azaell should be fighting this, actually. I think trading the scout HP against those militia is most of the time not going to be worth it. Maybe... yeah. No, I'm not a huge fan. You can probably... yeah. I'm not sure. I don't think you should worry too much about 3 militia. There's much more value to be gained on offense. And losing 2 scouts against them is definitely not worth it. So, both sides here have got some slight criticisms there. But let's see how the reactions will turn out. I've got blacksmith and archer range up for amobe already, so that's the buildings required to age up. But for now he's going to need to stabilize. He's lost map control here, which was kind of inevitable against a scout civ that also is able to get up to feudal age faster than you. Azaell also already going on to gold. So this seems to me like just a few scouts into castle age. Nothing crazy for the Mongols. In his spot, I would actually just start walling up behind this. I'm sending scouts forward to rush the enemy. Maybe make 1 extra scout at this point or something like that, so that you actually have a serious threat, as he's going to take out another villager here. And, or actually the first villager of the game, really. And I would just start walling behind this. Get into a decent castle age spot, and definitely don't throw these scouts away. Ah, that's another one going down. The army control could surely have been better here, but again, the first game going for 80 minutes probably was very tiring. It might have something to do with this one being on both sides, really. Maybe a bit more on the slop here and so far. And just as if he meant to confirm what I just said, oh boy. Ooh, pain. And there's the next scout. As I said, maybe another scout or two, but... yeah, not what we love to see, really. Oh man, oh man. Okay, making some more scouts. I think he kind of has to do this at this point, because he tried to do what I was suggesting. Just put pressure with the scouts, go castle age behind it, wall up. But at this point, you kind of gave up your scouts a bit too easily. So if you still want to just go to castle age and not play an extended feudal, you're going to have to make a few units and put the pressure on the opponent again. Otherwise, he will take back map control and he'll just be able to get up to castle age and, yeah, and do so just as freely as you. So I like the decision to kind of just take the L and make a few more scouts. At this point, probably the right call. Alright, so the walls are pretty much almost done here. Good walling there. Was able to get in with the scouts, actually. Didn't quite see where, but I think down here below the house there must actually be a gap there. And that's exactly what he is looking for. Just idle those enemy villages a bit. Keep those scouts alive as long as possible. You don't necessarily need to get a lot of villager kills. You just need to delay the opponent and make sure that you arrive to castle age in better shape than the Malay player here. Honestly, like a 36... oh, that's where the hole's at. Dang. Like a 36, 37 villager type castle age would be great. At this point with the archers going forward, I understand though that you have to deviate a bit, maybe put up that tower. Although, I guess it needed to be just a bit closer to the wall, because at this point they can still kind of range your wood choppers from behind the wood line. Still seems to have been good enough to force amobe to go back, and another spearman was actually made to defend at home. Feel like you're fine with this as the Mongols. Like this game set, I think I welcome a lot. Just trying to get up to castle age at this point. You're doing fine, I believe. On the other side, the melee. I'm not 100% sure. That's really not my civ, so I'm not sure what I'm looking for when I'm playing melee at all stages of the game. But now he's trying to break in and do some damage to the opponent's eco. Having invested a lot into feudal age military, it's only natural that he would try to do some damage here. It's gonna be bad news for him because he really can't do any damage, even if he breaks in here. The only thing is maybe one or two of these villagers underneath the TC could be ranged, but that wouldn't be the end of the world for Azaell, who's again diving in here and actually getting through the TC. Nice job there. Was able to sneak in and is again going to be able to harass some of those enemy villages. Is keeping the scouts alive a bit longer this time around, so that's good. And still being annoying. On the way to Castle Age now. A 33 villager Castle Age is even quicker than I expected. Oh, he used the market for it. Fair enough. Fair enough. Sold. Oh no, didn't sell any stone, but maybe bought a bit of food here actually. And in are the enemy archers. Not going to do a whole lot, I think. Actually goes for another staple. So maybe just looking for some traditional knight play in Castle Age. Could also go for step lances though. It really depends. I always love my step lances at the Mongols. I'm really only making step lances or mangodai. But I recognize oftentimes a knight play might also be a good choice. We'll see what he ends up going for here. The opponent hasn't really shown any commitment for either type of military so far. The only thing you know is there's no stable for the melee. And so maybe you're expecting crossbowmen in the Castle Age. In that case, knights may be pretty good. And the few spearmen also quite annoying. So with step lancers, you can't trade into his army, but you can try to make step lancers and harass the enemy eco again, while just trying to survive at home with maybe some siege. That is definitely viable. You could go for step lancers and siege. I think that is okay. Knights, on the other hand, would also be fine. So let's really see what Azaell prefers here. Don't think either choice would be terrible. Gets a good house wall up behind those palisades. I like the safe play here. And melee now clicking up to Castle Age just the moment that Azaell reaches it himself. So we see step lancers queued for him. That is fine. We all love to play with those, I'm sure. One of the most fun units definitely to use. Upgrades also coming in behind this. And maybe going to try and catch out those archers already. Good choice here, man. That's good unit utilization. Making sure you're getting value out of them, despite not having a number that could find or that could fight the main enemy force just yet. You really see how quickly those step lancers are being created. That's what makes them so appealing here, as opposed to the knights who take ages coming out, or even the cavalry archers who, I mean, I just never build them with Mongols because they're so infuriating slow and just get mangodai at that point. Am I right? Forward go the step lancers, exactly like I suggested, man. I'll have to see this. This is a good idea. Just get a few of them and go back to raiding again. Opponent is indeed going into crossbowmen, just like we with kind of expecting here. Don't think this is still open, but looks like Azaell was able to find another villager here, and step lancers are going to try and find an angle, but even if they're unable to do so, they are enough of a threat to force the enemy to keep some army at home at least. Downside is, of course, they don't really have a lot of armor. They were buffed in terms of pierce armor on this patch in April, if you remember. And he's almost actually able to break in here. That was kind of scary for a second. But amobe doing the due diligence and walling up. Azaell acting as second TC behind this. Really good choice. Really good. I think 2 TC play and keep up the military pressure might be the call for this one. And actually able to break the palisade and get in. amobe just, man, that was kind of careless here. And that's a lot of villages going down. That's the terror of the step lancers. Oh, you knew they were there. Just hit all those houses a bit in order to make it impossible to break in. Again, he's gonna struggle getting up the house wall on the wood line. Loses the farmers as well. Oh, this is great value for a raid there for Azaell. He's thriving in this game, and yeah, man, this is exactly how I like to see those step lancers being used. You break in, you take a few casualties here, and you just break your way out of there on the other side. I love to see it. I think that's the real strength of these units. So mobile, great damage output as well. And the enemy army is just being ran circles around. You're dancing on his forehead as we speak. Farms being still added here at home to be able to supply 2 TC production and still get a few step lances out at the same time. Like to see that. And at this point with 15 step lances, man, it's getting kinda... At this point you really want to start adding upgrades. I feel like just get the plate bar. Yeah, man, or the chain barding, excuse me. Great timing there. In comes the upgrade. And that's going to be difficult, even with these amounts of crossbowmen. It could be difficult cleaning that up. Ooh, and I agree. That was a great step lancer play there. They were definitely not stuck. No step sister help was required here. I can tell you that. Able to actually now sneak around the crossbowmen again. And you have two choices. You could try fight those crossbowmen here. You would take immense losses here and possibly even lose the fight. Or you can do the same thing again, just ride forward. You force the enemy to kind of turn around immediately, because there's no way the melee do the same damage rating as you do on the other side. Ah, it's so lovely playing Cavalry Sith. It's so much easier, really. We love to see it. Alright, he arrives at the enemy walls once more. The opponent scrambling to put up those house walls, and in the meantime doing nothing with their crossbowmen. Hitting the stable, he might as well just run back at this point with them, because that was no damage done, really, at all. Amobe really struggling to find an answer to the Mongols. That's the pressure that they're able to put up through the entire game. Oh, man, and they're gonna be able to break in sooner or later. He's able to hit the villagers through the houses as well. I don't think Amobe realizes. He was able to break in with the crossbowman, though. That was a good choice. That's huge damage at home now. The mangonel, though. Great addition. That's what I said earlier. Remember at the start of Castle Age I said it. Defend at home with a few mangonels and get those step lancers to raid forward. It seems like that's gonna give him a lot of success here. Is he able to keep that mangonel alive a bit? Use the villagers. Repair, please. Okay, no repairs coming in. He's got no second mangonel queued here, so he's gonna lose a ton of villagers here. Really, at least he's gonna be able to do the same type of damage on offense though. And I still would rather be Mongols in this situation. Oh, the castle is massive. Oh, if this castle goes up, these are all dead. And nothing of the same can be said on the other side. I feel like he's just winning the game here. The step lancer raids are just too oppressive to deal with. And he's going to take out another ton of villagers. 16, 18 kills on these step lancers already. 20 at this point. And the crossbowmen cannot even hold up against this. It feels like Amobe has lost the game here. He's got 20 less villagers at this point. Half the eco of the opponent. One less town center. He's trying to break out with the crossbowmen here. The castle, I guess. Oh no. Okay, it doesn't go up. So fair enough for Amobe. He's able to get a few crossbowmen out, but it's too late here. He's already lost too much of his eco. I don't think he's got a way back into it. Okay, he's got 9 villagers. This one's over, my guys. I love to see finally my Mongols are doing work. Hey, finally someone's able to win on them in the tournament. There we go. Always love to see successful Mongol play. That was some great stuff here. And the lone survivor here on offense, still parading his spear around the enemy town, where, well, he's kind of 10% of the enemy town's population is this step lancer here. Oh, and he's just able to waltz all the way out of there. Wow, how long has this been overchopped for already? Oh, poor Amobe. Wasn't aware, I don't think, and he's lost everything at home here. He's trying to come up with ways to come back into this one, but really, being honest to himself, there's just nothing he can do. Down a town center as well. Down 30 villagers. 25, either way. Yeah. You've done some decent damage with your raid, but at what cost, really? I love this guy. This is like the last military unit left on the map. I guess the opponent has a few crossbowmen as well here, so, well, it's not as bad, but what are those really gonna do, really? And more step lancers actually coming in for Azaell. I'm not even sure we need this. Like, I don't think we can do any more damage than we just did with more step lancers. Because we killed like every villager that he had. So if your goal is to do that same thing again, I guess, but really at this point you already have the huge villager lead. I Either you just super boom here now. Oh, amobe asking. Oh man, this is ridiculous. They did get buffed though. Or maybe only the elite ones got buffed? Only the elite ones got the extra pierce armor? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, never mind. You know more than I do. You are educating us live in-game from the past. How are crossbows not killing them? Well, you didn't have a ton of them around. That was the issue. Your biggest stack was on offense. And they are mobile as sheesh. So, yeah. amobe has lost everything. They're down 30 villagers, and that gap is going to continue widening. I don't think you should add more step lances at this point, and Azaell has stopped queuing them up as well. I feel like do whatever you want. Either you just super boom here, you go up to imp as quick as possible and start pushing with traps or whatever. You've got all the... I would go to imp and start race car onager pushing, because whenever I have a chance to do that in any game, that's what I do. Get the race cars out, because that's the most satisfying thing you can do against archer players. Like, that is the dream. And the nightmare of every archer player is when the enemy siege is faster than your units. So, yeah, I would definitely do that in this game. Ideal play would probably be adding a 30C, super booming up, just make a few mangonels, I guess, to defend with, and yeah, then just roll him. Azaell's going for the fun approach, though, not super booming, not going for fast imp here now, but instead castling the enemy's forehead. And there's no army around to stop this, so this is going to be it for Azaell. There he goes. Ends up calling the game once he sees those villagers come forward. And that was a fun series, really. Was always action. The first game ended up kind of extending a bit longer than maybe it needed to, but actually not really. So there was always action. So I'm not mad about that. And this was a good one. Really was. We saw Mongols win, so what more could I really want? And was nicely done. Azaell ends up moving on to the semi-finals here as the 6th seed, able to pull off an upset victory in the quarterfinals, and is up into the round of 4 of bracket H, alongside 2 others, I think, that are already there. I'm not exactly sure which players that are, but of course you can look that up in the Discord if you're wondering. I also don't want to spoil people that are watching this on stream or on YouTube, as I always, of course, upload the videos there as well. Yeah, that's gonna do it for me tonight, though. It's already approaching 11 p.m. and as always, gotta get up at 8 tomorrow, so yeah. Glad you guys enjoyed it as well. Always cool to have new people come in here, and even if it's just for me talking about your games and you listening to that, that's always cool to be able to share stuff with the people, and if it provides value for them, that's great, because it definitely helps me learn about the game as well, and that makes it fun. So yeah, it was a great day. Good casts here, the 2 series that we had today, and I'll be doing more tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow I'll have time for sure, so that's going to be another series or 2 that I'll cast then. So yeah, until then, take care, guys. Have fun enjoying the tournament, and keep supporting the guys running it most of all. So that's the most important thing. So I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks everybody for coming out.